Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope students, you all people are doing good. Students, we have discussed in the previous video till the scenario of the First World War. Okay, now in today's video we will see the February Revolution's detail. Okay, so let's just watch the video.
The First World War had an enormous impact on the economy and government of Russia. Shortage of food and hunger strikes prevailed across the country. By the end of February, a large number of workers were on strike. Workers in cities like Petrograd and Moscow came onto the streets demanding higher food rations. The workers were also angered by the social divide. The river Neva that flowed across the capital city of Petrograd seemed to divide the city in two halves. Workers' quarters and factories were mainly placed along the right bank of the Neva. The left bank of the Neva was dominated by elite structures such as the Winter Palace, the official buildings, and the palace where the Duma met. While the elite class living on the left bank of the Neva led a comfortable life, the workers living on the other side of the river suffered food shortages. Triggered by the food shortages and the oppression by the rich, the February Revolution of 1917 began with a wave of strikes. On 22nd February, a lockout took place at a factory on the right bank.
So students, here, let's just see first. Okay, so here you have seen the scenario that how after the First World War, what happened? Lack of the food grains lead to the problem of hunger and starvation to the poor people. Okay, and what happened that here is the scene given in this video that here is a river and in the both side people were leaving. Okay, in the first side the people were leaving who all are like working in the factories. Okay, and the houses are there nearby only. Okay, those are the poor peoples. Okay, and in the other side the elite class people, the high income group people were there. Okay, who were having all the facilities, they are not facing any problem. Okay, but here the people were facing hunger and starvation. Okay, and that all things, okay, were like going on, and afterwards the suppression from the upper class people to the low income people and the farmers, those who are already like facing the hunger and starvation, that all annoyed them, and that lead to this February Revolution on 22 February 1917. Okay, so what happened afterwards? Only a lockout took place in the factories. That means factories were like closed. Okay, just saying that the lockout is a situation where the employers does not allow workers to work. It differs from the strike where the employer refused to work. Okay, so there is a difference between the strike and the lockout. Okay, in the lockout, the like owner of the factory, they are not allowing the employers to work. Okay, and in strike, employees themselves refuse to work in the factories. Okay, so likewise it is same here. Okay, and this all, the food and hunger actually leads to more and more, this rallies and this operations against this, the upper class people.
The following day, on 23rd February, workers in 50 factories went on strike. Subsequently, men were fired upon and shot On 25th February, the government suspended the Duma. On 26th February, demonstrators returned to the streets. And on the 27th of February, they ransacked the police headquarters. Soon, all of Petrograd was protesting, with people raising slogans for bread, higher wages, fewer working hours, and democracy. To control the raging crowd, the government instructed the cavalry to fire the demonstrators. However, the cavalry refused and joined forces with the striking workers. Together, they assembled to form the Soviet, or a council. This came to be known as the Petrograd Soviet. This took place in the same building where the Duma met. The Soviet decided that the Tsar, Nicholas II, must abdicate, so they sent a delegation to meet him on 1st March. On 2nd March, the Tsar resigned, following the advice of his military commanders. A new provincial government was formed by the Soviet and Duma leaders. The new government decided to have a constituent assembly that would be elected democratically. Thus, the February Revolution resulted in the resignation of Tsar Nicholas II, the fall of Imperial Russia, and the formation of the Russian Provisional Government.
So students, if in the exam it is asked that what is the February Revolution, what was the reason, okay, or what is the effect, so this is the whole and soul story, okay, that how after the First World War the things were more negative and adverse for the low income people, peasants and workers, okay. And as this lockout we have discussed that on 22nd February, okay, the lockout was there. In the next day what happened, that the employers from the 50 factories, they itself went to strike. So that is why the things were got disturbed and more aggressions were taking place, okay. It is seen in the video, okay. So what happened, because that all things were going on under the kingship of Tsar Nicholas II, okay. So now what happened, that as the Duma was there, now one more the thing was like formed, the office or the organization was formed for the welfare of this or people who were working under the industries and factories, okay. So that was called Soviet Petrograd, okay. So the two organizations were there, and the military heads have forced Tsar Nicholas to resign. So what are the effects here? The effects of the February Revolution is that there is a resignation of the Tsar Nicholas II, then there is a fall of Imperial Russia, and the formation of the provincial government. And the part of provincial government we are talking about is the Soviet Petrograd and the Duma, okay. Let's go to the quiz section, students. There are 3 questions in that. What is the first question is saying here? What were the demands of the striking workers? Okay, so there are 4 options: bread, butter, better wages, and democracy. So what do you think it can be? It is the 3 things that they were demanding poverty, Russian military failures in the World War I, Tsar Nicholas assuming command of the military on the Western Front in 1915. So all are the causes. Okay, this all you need to note it down, and these all are the causes of the February Revolution. Okay, now let's see the next topic. We have talked about 19th century Europe, the 1905 revolution, the first World War scenario, the 1917 February Revolution. Now there is the 1917 October Revolution we have to discuss. Let's see.
In October 1917, Russia experienced an important transition that heralded a new future. This year has been earmarked in history as it was responsible in transforming Russia into a communist, socialist nation. Vladimir Lenin led the Bolsheviks, a faction of the Marxist Russian Social Democratic Labour Party that managed to overthrow the provincial government. The Bolsheviks then established what was popularly known as the Soviet Republic, that is, a workers' state. They also made peace with Germany by signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The Bolsheviks under Lenin promised the people peace, land, and bread. They abolished all titles of aristocracy. However, these initial changes were not easily accepted by the rich nobles. Their hostility was curbed with the help of the Red Army, also known as the Workers' and Peasants' Red Army. The Bolsheviks seized the property of large landowners and capitalists. They declared that all land belonged to the people. In cities, Bolsheviks imposed the division of large houses according to family requirements. The factories were taken over by the government and handed over to a committee of workers who were to run it. The banks too were nationalized. By 1918, the Bolshevik Party was renamed the Russian Communist Party. Over the years, it was the only party that participated in the parliamentary elections. As a result, the Soviet Republic became a one-party state. Trade unions were kept under the control of the party. A secret police called the ch-2 was formed. It punished those who spoke against the new government. The young artists and writers that had been greatly inspired by the Bolshevik ideologies and supported the revolution were soon left disillusioned by the restrictions imposed by the government. By 1921, the economy of the country was no better than what it was during the regime of the Tsars. The workers had proven to be incompetent in running factories. The peasants too were hoarding food grains. And added to the wars was a period of severe drought. At this critical juncture, Lenin introduced the new economic policy which aimed at a mixed economy which he called state On the other hand, individuals would be able to sell their food grains in open markets. Individuals could also open their own stores and set up small factories. All these changes helped in improving the Soviets' economic health for some time. After the death of Lenin in 1924, the Soviet once again faced a series of socio-economic upheaval.
So students, here you have seen the three situations, okay, that is the political changes, social changes and economic changes of the Soviet Republic, okay, that is led by Lenin, that is Vladimir Lenin has brought that all different changes which you have just seen in the video, okay. It is saying barely 3 days after his death in the 1924, the Petrograd was renamed as Leningrad. The name remained until 1991 when the USSR was dissolved, okay. So you have seen that how there is an improvement in all the three aspects in Soviet Russia, that is the, like whether it's the social changes, economical changes or the political changes, okay. In economy, if we are saying about the economic changes, it is all about the prosperity in the development of the country. So that took place, and how it took place, you have just seen that how the economy nature has to get changed. So there Lenin has introduced the mixed economy, but in his name he has stated state economy, that is like where the people are having all the features of mixed economy, like there the public and private internship is there. The public sector will also work. Public means what? The government sectors, as well as the private individuals can also do business and earn profit for themselves. So these all things you have just seen. Let's just go to the quiz section now. So here are 4 questions. First of all, it is saying that under whose leadership was a military revolutionary committee formed. Okay, so 4 options are there. Let's just see which is the right answer. It's Leon Trotsky. Okay. Next is saying Ernest joined Dash in 1900, a party which struggled for the rights of peasants. And 4 options are there: Social Democratic Party, Socialist Revolutionary Party, Labour Party, Peasants Party. Is the Socialist Revolutionary Party. Next it is saying the Prime Minister of the provincial government in October 1917 was Lenin. It's true or it's false? It's false. Okay. Next question it is saying under whose leadership was the Military Revolutionary Committee formed? Again there are 4 options, and what do you think will be the right answer? It's Leon Trotsky, which we have just discussed. Okay. So likewise we have discussed about the October Revolution also. Yes. So we have completed till 1917 October Revolution. So you have to remember that in 1917 itself there are the 2 revolutions took place. The first one is the February Revolution and then the October Revolution. In October Revolution, basically you have learned about the different changes brought in the Soviet Russia, okay, in the 3 aspects, that is the social change, political change and economical change, okay. So that all things we have learned, students. Afterwards, whatever topics are remaining, we will discuss in the next class, okay. Till that time, students, be honest to yourself, okay. Don't cheat yourself, use your time, read your books, okay. Go through all the details of your chapters so that you will get the things easily. Few chapters are only there, so you better just prepare it in a class.